we are really excited to talk about how to turn your community passion into fundraising power. And really, why I wanted to do this because I think actually rare disease foundations are really well poised to do peer-to-peer fundraising more than other organizations because you already have an active, engaged community, mostly online. You have very digital communities already through Facebook groups, email, different things like that. So you already have a really great community to start harnessing for peer to peer. All right, so I'm so glad you're here. Some of you I know, some of you I don't know. We have some rare impact clients here, some people I've met through events, and some of you who are brand new. So I'm very excited to have you here. So I am Shannon Bowen. I'm the founder and CEO of Rare Impact Agency. We are our full agency here to serve you in your fundraising and communications needs. I have been a fundraiser for over 20 years. I have been a C-suite nonprofit executive. I have worked for a scientific institute. I am also married to a scientist, so I am in this world. And then I've built an amazing team. We have a team of designers, copywriters, strategists, project managers, so that we can really execute your development and communications projects alongside you. So we have done quite a few peer-to-peer campaigns and very excited to show you what we've been doing. So here's what we're covering today. So we're going to go through what is peer-to-peer fundraising, what the different campaign models are that we've been implementing here, how to recruit and equip your campaign captains. These are the people that are really going to be leading the charge. And, there's a little bit of strategy there of how to equip them. Matching gift strategy. This is huge for matching gifts. And how to transform those first-time givers into long-term supporters. That's what we're here to do, is to invite people into the movement and to have them here to stay. As we know, we do run into a barrier with our diagnosed families, right? So how there's only so many, especially if some of you are working on ultra rare. So how do we invite their networks in to support their families and to support the research that you all are funding for treatments and cures that directly impact these families? All right. So, thinking about your community, it's your greatest fundraising asset. You don't need to have all these fancy things. You have it right there. You have your community. How do you give them the tools and the strategies to help them fundraise on your behalf? So, I love this stat from GoFundMe, which of course is a huge peer-to-peer fundraising platform, right? That if you have a peer-to-peer element, you're going to raise almost 4 times the amount as a time-bound campaign. So instead of asking for a one-time gift, you're really asking someone to fundraise on your behalf. But also, I think it's an invitation to take action. That diagnosis is not the end, it's the beginning of this beautiful journey with this community that is leading towards real action and real outcomes for your community. How do we invite people in? All right, so these are the two campaigns that we have been running that we see are kind of the two models. So there's a purely digital campaign. These are a lot of them that you see online of I'm Shannon, I'm creating a fundraising page. I'm fundraising on behalf of this foundation. And you'll see that I'm posting on social media and inviting people in. So I'm really excited. I'm not sure if Amanda's popped on here, but one of our clients, PMSF, just ran a 24-hour digital campaign yesterday, exceeded their goal and brought in close to $82,000. So I'm so proud of them. It was so amazing. That was a 24-hour one, which is tough. So we're going to talk through a little bit longer about a month-long campaign, but you can do them in a day as well. And then there's event-based campaigns. So these are everybody is doing like a 5K in their hometown, different places around the globe. But we're going to do it on the same day so that we have this multiplying effect that I'm running in my hometown and you're running in your hometown, or I'm doing a virtual, and that you get this cumulative effect and this excitement that it's all happening on the same day. These have different strategies and different tools that attach to them. And if you have any questions, just drop it in the chat and I'm happy to explain. We're going to walk through both of these though. All right, so we like to build in a 10-week campaign cycle, and starting with phase one, which is planning. Everything with development, every fundraising campaign, you have this quiet planning phase and you're collecting all this stuff. Then you're public, and that's just about any campaign, but especially with peer-to-peer. So you want to be securing your matching gifts. You want to be recruiting your captains. We're going to talk through how to find them. And you're going to want to start to get those early gifts in so that when you launch, there's already some gifts in there. It's like when you put the dollar in the tip jar. Like nobody wants to give a tip to an empty jar. So you want to have just a little bit of money in that campaign to start. So it's like, ooh, this is live. This is active. I want to be a part of that. Then you have the phase two of the active campaign. And we really run these as a 4 week campaign. But again, like we just had a 24-hour one yesterday, whatever time period you're looking for, these are the main stages of that campaign. You're going to activate your campaign with your first match. We like to have a match to open and to close the campaign, which we're going to go into in a little bit more detail in a minute. You're doing your storytelling throughout. This is where we really provide the social media templates for your captains to be telling their family story, the research story, the impact statistics, because these are also a great way to educate the wider community about your specific disease and where you're at in that treatment cycle. Maybe you have clinical trials coming up. So we can really wrap all this storytelling into the campaign. And then midweek, we're, mid campaign, we're going to celebrate, shout out to our captains. We're going to rah encourage them. We give you all the scripts to do this. And then that final push is when you use that second match to really push to the finish line and build that excitement. So it kind of gets that little boost at the end instead of like, oh, we've been doing this a while. So we want to really have that finish strong with the excitement at the end. And then phase three is probably the most important one, which is stewardship. So thanking your donors and captains, sharing the results, collecting stories for next year, and begin welcoming your new donors in the community. And we're going to talk through a very structured process to do that. Right. So, how to set a campaign goal? This is always one of the hardest questions of like, what is achievable? What is the right number to do? So there's a little bit of an art and a little bit of a science to it. The science to it is what is achievable? What has your community brought in over a single campaign in the past? And maybe on a Giving Tuesday or a digital appeal. And if you haven't done a single campaign yet, then we can kind of talk through some other data points in your database to look at. And then ambitious, what's a little bit north of that number? What's a little bit of a stretch goal that we still feel like we can hit it, but it's not too big? Because we want it to be exciting too. And then the matches. So if you're working to secure those matches in advance, are they 5,000, 10,000, 25,000? What are these size of the matches? And that will help you to figure out the goal as well. And then you're going to analyze all those together. And the little bit of art to it is it's kind of instinctual what number you think you want to choose at the end. And if you don't hit your goal, the great thing about peer to peer is I think that's okay because it's so much more than the money. It's about the number of donors, it's about the number of captains, it's about the enthusiasm and the excitement, the reach of your posts. It's so much more than the money. And one of our clients is on here today who ran an amazing peer-to-peer campaign, 147 supporters. And Ashley, I just loved how the LCC Foundation just really thanked everybody at the end, and you felt the excitement of the campaign and that those 147 people felt really seen and valued. And that's another great benefit of peer-to-peer. All right, so digital campaigns. So I'll be sharing some examples of some of the social posts that we've done for different clients in here. So these are really powerful because they're simple. Social media, you have your giving pages, social media, email. So a little bit simpler and easier to implement right away than the event-based ones. You can have a little power hour of giving. You can use a thermometer to spur on giving throughout. Some of y'all's communities are kind of competitive and get really into the competition of it. So if you have a community that's like that, this is a great way to do it. And let's reach that goal together, right? You can also, it's an easy way to incorporate video, and it's great to reshare those top posts. So then those captains are feeling seen and valued of like, oh my gosh, they shared my post. And, so you get to see that energy build and build. Really good to have someone online during the campaign that they can be managing that and posting and things like that. And we can talk through what that looks like. And so that's kind of what's happening on social media. Then you're using your email to tell the wider story of this is why we're doing it. This is the bigger picture, all of the big impact that we're doing. So social media is a little bit shorter, and email, you have more room to talk through that bigger impact. I'm not seeing any questions in the chat, but if you guys have any, drop them in there. All right, we're going to jump over to event-based. So event-based are great for awareness days, 5Ks, kind of walk, roll, runs. You can even do dance-a-thons. What I like about both of these campaigns is some people are into movement-based campaigns, some people are not. I'm not going to do a 5K. Sorry, I'm not a runner. I would do more of a digital. So it's nice to offer both to your community, or maybe you alternate. One year you do an event base, one year you do a digital base, so that you get to engage donors where they're at. So I love that it creates urgency and excitement across multiple locations. You get these powerful visuals of teams in real life. They have matching shirts, they're on bikes, they're just this exciting visuals. One of the challenges of our rare disease community is it's spread out and it's mostly virtual. Most are only doing a family conference every other year. And so it's really a challenge to get groups of photos of a community together. And you want to show that this movement is bigger than one family. It's bigger than one person. And so that's what's really nice about this, is working with those captains. Make sure we're getting those photos, sharing those photos to feel like, look how big our movement is. Also, you get the opportunity to do local sponsorships, which is really unique to these events. That different local, think about who sponsors your little league teams. So those kind of sponsors, your local law firms, your local banks, your local, whatever company, your local pizza shop, whatever. They get into this stuff. So that's a great way to engage your local community and to increase the amount that your team is raising. And, virtual events remove geographic barriers. So many of you are working all across the globe. So how do you invite everybody in? All right. All right. Your captains are ready to be activated. So people love to take action. It's fun. So how you find your captains: asking your board members and committee leads, looking to your active diagnosed families, maybe those who've shared their stories publicly, asking your most engaged social media followers. In a couple slides, I'm going to show kind of a little experiment you can run to warm up your audience on social media and to find those active people. And then reaching out to your advocates, your researchers, your clinicians, they may say yes. Some of these researchers and clinicians are in it with us and they're ready to activate their communities. So then you really want to make it as easy as possible. So yes, we want to invite you in, and then we want to give you everything you need to make it super easy. So we don't want them to have to figure out anything on their own. And this is really what Rare Impact does for our clients, is we give them everything that they need. So we give them a captain toolkit with Canva social media templates, email templates, scripts, personal fundraising pages. Then of course we want them to make their first gift to their page. Even $20 signals momentum, and check in weekly. So when you're running this campaign, it's a continuous communication with the captains. And also checking in, is there anything you need? Oh, do you need a special template? Okay, we can create that for you. And then most importantly, celebrating them publicly throughout the event. So having little features of them, shout outs to them, and sending nice little thank yous throughout. All right, so here's some of our templates from campaigns that we have run for our clients, some of whom are on this call. And we love doing beautiful design. That's one of our favorite things. And so you can kind of see it. I'm raising funds for LCC in honor of David. This was a template that then a family could personalize with their story and add their super cute photos, which I just love. And I love that you can just give people the tools to be like, here's my family. Here's my beautiful family. And I'm so excited to share our story and why we're engaged with this organization. All right, matching gifts. This is the key to peer-to-peer campaigns. So you always want to have at least one matching gift. We prefer one to start and one to close, just to keep it super motivated. When you can say every dollar is matched today, people want to give more. Who doesn't want to double their dollars? So where matches come from, board of directors, it could be a single person, or you can do a board match. So actually bringing your board together, maybe pooling their money for a match that works really well. Obviously, your major donors, and then your corporate partners, especially if you have a clinical trial happening right now, or you're really working with someone on drug development. This is a great way to leverage that relationship and bring in a match. And actually, our next free webinar in May is going to be all about corporate sponsorship. So we'll be talking about that even more. How to structure your matches. So we talked about the kickoff and closing. There's also stretch goals. So you may hit your goal early and then it's time to stretch it. So it's always good to have one match in your back pocket, even like $1,000, to say, hey, if we reach our goal, can we use your donation as a stretch goal? And people love it. People love to be a matching gift because it doubles the impact of their gift too. And we have a little pitch in here and we have like scripts, templates, everything. That your $10,000 will inspire our community to raise another $10,000 to double your impact. Your gift is the spark. So, really showing that the power of their gift to inspire more. Okay, so this is kind of something new that we've been talking about of how to warm up your community before you launch. If a lot of your comms right now are, I'm relaying information through social, I'm communicating, but you're not asking for engagement. You're not saying, hey, drop in the chat, hey, DM us on this, or hey, fill out this poll. You may not have a great engagement rate on social media. You may have a good follow rate, and maybe you're getting a good amount of likes, but you're not getting that two-way engagement. But you really need the two-way engagement for peer-to-peer. So we really are starting to recommend warming up your social media for engagement 4 to 6 weeks in advance. So, drop in the comments. What does rare disease advocacy mean to you? See who responds. Note that. Go ask them to be a captain later. We're doing interactive polls. What role do you play in our community? Use an emoji for, heart for patient, da da da. And it's just easy, right? They don't have to think. They just drop the emoji in and then you pay attention. You do a few of these. Ooh, okay. Sally Joe has been doing all of them. Okay. Then she's a potential captain. Story invitations. Would you ever consider sharing your story to help others feel less alone? Drop a heart emoji to say, yes, that is someone who's definitely probably open to being a captain. Have you ever supported a fundraiser for a cause close to your heart? And you can come up with all types of questions that are related to your specific community, but having people respond to you will give you data. You can also use in your email program like hit reply and let us know, which is also great for your email open rate. I do recommend doing that pretty often just to get that two-way street and also to help your email open rate so you don't look like spam because so many spam filters all the time. This is kind of a clever way to start to find those captains. All right. So now we're talking about launching. Okay, I'm still not seeing any questions in the chat, but don't be shy. If you have a question, just drop it in there. I'll just keep talking. Okay, so before you hit go, you want to aim for about 10% of your goal raised before the public launch. Either it's already in the fundraising forms or you have it on hold. So maybe you have that match secured or you have some donors that you've talked with them to say, hey, can you make sure that you donate that last week? And you'll send them a reminder. I don't know if you probably have been to a donor gala where, raise your paddle. So all of those large gifts are all pre-planned. So it's not in the room. So everybody secured that money in advance. That's kind of what you're doing here too. Have you secured some of those anchor gifts beforehand through that one-on-one conversation? We're going to get to that, Melissa. I will share with you exactly what all we do for our clients during this. So you want to get the 10% of your goal raised quietly so we got a good amount in the tip jar before we start. You want to make sure your captain's pages are live and active with donations already in and you've secured that kickoff match. So during the launch week, announce the match 2 days after launch to sustain early momentum. That's kind of wiggle room. You want to launch, and anytime in that first week, you want to launch that first match. So if you have a lot of action in that first 24 hours, maybe you want to wait a little bit longer to hit the match. Really just kind of see what is working with your community. We really talk through that these campaigns are pretty iterative and you want to be responding to how your community is showing up during them. You want to celebrate every milestone publicly. Our first $1,000, our first team to hit the goal, our first, post with this many likes. It should feel celebratory throughout. This is a fun, active campaign that we are all in it together. And then really taking time to send captains a personal note from your executive director or board chair. So those can be text messages, they can be emails, they can be handwritten notes and videos. We're going to talk through a couple different ways to really do personal thank yous for your captains. All right. Okay, so captains. I think you can tell now how important they are to your campaign. This is also, they are your captains for this campaign, but you're also cultivating your major donors. And maybe I like to think about major donors, it's not always an amount, right? So maybe someone can't donate $10,000, but maybe they can activate their community around them to donate $10,000. Something else we're working for our clients that I'm going to share kind of once we start to really build these out are like family fundraiser toolkits. How can you give everything to the family so that they can run these campaigns and these events and different things, pickleball tournament, golf tournament, to support your organization. So these captains are active and engaged and willing to fundraise on your behalf. So you really want to keep them close. So after the campaign closes, sending a short impact report built specifically for them. That could be a few statistics. It can be a paragraph. It doesn't have to be really elaborate. You want to ask your ED or board chair to send a handwritten card, text, or short video. Shout them out publicly on social media and in your newsletter. I love this. Insider perks that build loyalty. So giving them early access to news, events, and next year's campaign. A cornerstone of major donor strategy from best practices in fundraising is the number one thing that major donors want is they want access. Access to your leadership, access to news, access to knowing what is coming next first. You can bring that strategy to your peer-to-peer captain so that they feel seen and valued and supported by the organization. Asking for feedback. The best way to ask for money is to ask for advice. Age old saying. You're ready if you have an engaged community, even a small one, doesn't have to be a big one. Which she asks, if a PAG hires you, what is your role in all of this? So we help you run your peer-to-peer campaign. So we build everything you need to run your campaigns. So your booklets, your social media templates, your scripts, your emails, your theme, your designs, everything with event-based. Sometimes there's banners, there's yard signs, there's all these different pieces that you want to have branded together. We do all of that for you. We have the digital campaign is a little simpler, which is why it's at a lower price. And then the event-based campaign is more complex. And so that's why it's at a higher price. There's way too much to fit on a slide. You can go to our webpage. Also, we could just hop on a discovery call and talk through what your specific campaign is, and we can customize it from there. But this is the basics, the two types that we run. And Melissa, if you have more questions on our role, please drop it in the chat. I want to share a couple other exciting things that actually you all are the first to hear. And then we'll jump into Q&A, but I'm very excited. We just put this together, which is our new 6-month fundraising accelerator. Literally, the webpage went live last night. So you are the first to hear about this. We've been working on retainer with many of our clients and really learning how important that 6 months is to build the infrastructure and the strength to be able to turbocharge your development. So what we've done is we're actually packaging it into this fundraising accelerator where we are doing your projects for you alongside you, expert design, communications, all of that strategy, while also building the strength of your strategy, your infrastructure, and your leadership capacity so that after that 6 months, either you're moving into an advising retainer with us, you're hiring full-time staff, but you're ready to run. How do we work together in that 6 months to turbocharge your growth? I'm super excited. The price right now is $4,500 a month. It's going to go up on July 1st because I'm actually adding more features. I'm going to add some very specific trainings. I'm going to bring in some of my experts in my field to come and only work with our accelerator clients. So if you're interested, I'm only going to have 2 spots open from now until July. It will become first come, first serve. Again, it's way too much to put on a slide, so you can go to the webpage and look more. But I'm really excited to help everybody just ramp up super fast and then run with your development. All right. Also, you're the first to get on our wait list. So, starting July 1st, we are going to be booking our end of year and Giving Tuesday clients. This is the biggest giving season of the year. Giving Tuesday is kind of like a peer-to-peer campaign. We can run it like a peer-to-peer campaign a little bit more. We can build in Facebook ads. There's a lot we can do with Giving Tuesday. So we are going to have spaces limited for end of year and Giving Tuesday. We're going to have print and digital options. We're going to have add-ons like reminder postcard, Facebook ads, video, different things like that. The priority will be given to our accelerator and retainer clients, and then the wait list. You get the wait list first because I literally haven't announced this at all. So get on the wait list when we're about to announce in July. And just so you know, we will book everybody by Labor Day because we are off to the races after Labor Day, running your campaign till the end of the year. And I want to see you all have a great presence during end of year and getting those dollars because donors are ready to give during that time of year. So and lastly, up next is going to be our corporate sponsorship playbook. So we are going to be talking through corporate sponsorships, talking through how to build your brochures, how to build your tiers, what are some creative ways to engage with them, really thinking about where you're at in drug development, clinical trials. There are different strategies for corporate partnerships at different stages in your treatment cycle of development. So we will talk through that. I might have some special guests coming. It's going to be really fun. May 15th, same time, free, because I want to keep doing monthly free webinars to share this information with you all. And then lastly, we are going to do questions. So I'm going to jump off of the screen share so we can all look at each other and ask questions. And thank you so much. I'm so excited. I feel like I've been talking nonstop. So I'm excited to hear some questions from everybody. And I hope you feel inspired to do peer-to-peer because I think it is an amazing tool. I think it is worth it to try. And it's a great way to engage your community. So thank you. All right, let me get us off. Oh, hold on. Let me take my spotlight off. And so, Allison, I saw your question. What will the price be for end of year and Giving Tuesday packages? That's a great question. We are working on that right now. I will say they'll probably be in the range from like 3 to 6,000, and we're working on what those, digital is obviously cheaper. When you add print, it's a little bit more complicated. My team is working on those pricing right now because we're coming up with like we're analyzing what worked well last year and what we want to emulate next year. And then we'll probably do different add-ons. Like some people are ready for Facebook ads, not everybody else is. They've been really successful for some of our clients, so we want to be able to offer that. We want to be able to offer that if that's where you're at. And Sarah, you will be receiving the recording after the event, so absolutely. And I hope you're traveling somewhere fun. And what questions do you all have? Now I get to see who's all here because I was on the screen share, so I couldn't really see.
I have a
Hi,
question.
Allison.
So, hi, thank you. Um, a great presentation, and was so happy one of our board members saw you on LinkedIn and shared this out
Oh,
with us. So, as we're working on like refining our development plan, for the year and trying to, really at that point where we're trying to integrate more opportunities, right? So, would you suggest like the peer-to-peer like the digital and then adding in the virtual events and kind of having a multi-pronged approach throughout the entire year of offerings or
yeah, so I definitely believe in multiple asks throughout the year and using multiple different types of mediums. So I'm a big believer in print appeals because, some people love the ritual of getting your remit envelope, writing their check, and sending it. And several of my clients last end of year said, we haven't run one for years. Let's try it. And they were like, we got these lapsed donors back that thought had forgotten about us. And I think peer to peer is really similar. Some people are going to love it, some people are not going to engage with it. But when we build out a 12-month development strategy, which is part of the accelerator, so it doesn't matter what time of year you work with us, we're going to build out a 12-month strategy because we want to always be making sure every project that we do is working towards your goals, your annual goals, and you're hitting those outcomes that you're looking for. So we're going to look at those different levers and see, how has your community engaged in the past? How can we create maybe a different type of medium and test it and see if they'll engage with it? I think it's always good to experiment a little bit. Donors get bored. They get bored if you ask the same way every year. And also, there's different points, I think, in a foundation's life cycle where there's a really exciting moment that we want to galvanize our community around. I absolutely would say try different things at different times of year, do multiple asks, digital, print, peer to peer, engaging all your different stakeholders at different times throughout the year. But Allison, we could jump on a discovery call and talk through more of what your specific goals are.
Thank you.
Yeah, good question. And you can ask really a question about anything. It doesn't have to be peer to peer. So I'm here. This is the time to ask.
I'm just curious. Sarah and I were just talking about like birthday peer-to-peer fundraisers and stuff. A lot of people tend to do those little like meta campaigns. And
Mm-hmm.
to be honest, we hate those because you don't get donor information.
Yep.
It's very seldom that you get, even an email or anything like
Mm-hmm.
that. So I kind of threw out the idea, and really my question is, I want to know if you've had any experience with like clients doing this and having good luck with it. I know that people use the Meta campaigns because I think you click like 3 times and it's created. It pulls
Mm-hmm.
your profile picture. It already has the organization's mission, and you don't even have to change the goal. It sets the goal for you. So it's all done right then and there. But we utilize Bloomerang, and it's got that great peer-to-peer function, and we really like it, and it's super easy to build and use. But it's not as easy as Meta. But I was wondering,
Yeah.
have you ever had an experience with clients who utilize Bloomerang fundraising, maybe create like a peer-to-peer, just like general birthday campaign so that anybody can create their own fundraising campaign for their birthday? And have they had good luck with that?
Well, I think you bring up a really good point. So Meta designed it to work for Meta, not you.
Yeah.
And I've hated for years that they hold the donor data, and because it doesn't work for you unless you can get the donor data. Because
Hmm.
how you need to be able to speak directly to the donor. So, yes, I am not a fan of those. You can absolutely set up a campaign for your community where you say, hey, we're here. We're going to help you set up your own Bloomerang or Give Butter giving page for your child's birthday, or maybe it's an angel family and an anniversary that they want to remember and invite people in to. So you can absolutely set that up. And that's something we could set up specifically for you, is like, what does that campaign look like? What does that toolkit look like? And
Hmm.
then how is it easy for you to be that assistance to them to set it up? And then that's actually a peer-to-peer campaign that's kind of running throughout the year because it's based
Yeah.
on everybody's individual birthdays or anniversaries, which is pretty cool. So I actually love that idea, and I would definitely not do it through Meta. So
Yeah. And that was the thing that we were discussing is while it's still also very easy to do, it's not as easy as Meta's is. You know what I mean? You'd have to upload your own picture. I mean, we could depending on what they're wanting to fundraise for, like of course the text would change a little bit, but we'd get all the information.
yeah, it's a
Ugh.
racket, and this is why it is so important to build your own email list. So it's
Hmm.
great to have social media followings, but social media comes and goes. Hello Twitter, bye, it's gone.
Hmm.
So, or, the political climate around these social media changes. And so, do you have your supporters' data? Having and building a robust email program that
Hmm.
getting people to sign up for your emails, communicating with it directly, you own your email list. So that is the number one place that you want to have your donor communication happening. It is the lifeblood of your communication to your supporters. And then we also want to work on how do we get their mailing addresses, right? Because it's good to have both. Actually, I'm about to send an email next week about 3 spring cleaning items you can do for your development program. Hint, these are coming up in there, your email and your mailing list, because these are the lifebloods of your development program. Good questions,
Thank,
Ellen.
thank you.
Anybody else? Everybody got all shy for a second. I'm curious if anybody's thinking of running a digital or event-based campaign this year. Maybe drop in the chat if you're thinking about doing one or the other. And, awareness days are so good for this. Now, there is a question that comes up. Is it appropriate to fundraise on an awareness day? This is your personal decision to make with you and your board. I do think that fundraising is an action to take to rally your community, showcase your values, showcase what you stand for. So I believe that fundraising is a good action to do. But if you're like, no, we want to keep Awareness Day purely educational awareness, then maybe we do a fundraising campaign the month after and we build on that excitement and that renewed interest in everything, and then say, hey, now is a great time to maybe join our monthly giving program or something like that, a soft ask to follow the excitement. And that's something we could talk through on a discovery call or in the accelerator of what is really appropriate for your community. Every community is different and how they approach this. Okay. Thank you, Allison. We're introducing a new virtual peer-to-peer event this year, also doing $1 Million Bike Ride. Bike rides are big, right? And for Awareness Day is our biggest fundraising month of the year. So looking for new ways to do peer-to-peer in August for Awareness Day. Ooh, I love that Awareness Day is in August because that sets everybody up for end of year. Smart. Because then once we hit Labor Day, we are starting to warm everybody up for end of year. Oh, and I wanted to share that we love to come up with themes for your campaigns, for end of year, for Giving Tuesday. And then sometimes people get so excited about the themes that they make them their organization theme, which Ellery and Felicity, Sarah sent me the stickers of Relentless Hope, Real Progress. That was our end of year theme that now is their organization theme. I love the sticker. So it was really exciting. Any other questions? We can end a little early if there's no other questions. No? All right. Well, I appreciate you all coming on a Friday, whether it's morning or afternoon, whatever time zone you're in. You know where to find me. I'm very easy to find. You can always DM me on LinkedIn. We've got our email here. Thank you, Sarah. It's just a joy to get to share this knowledge. And I hope you have a wonderful peer-to-peer campaign. And also, if you run one, can you please message me on LinkedIn so I can follow it? Because I would just love to follow it and to share it and to like it. And so just let me know that you're running one so I can celebrate alongside you because that's the best part is the celebration. So appreciate you all and happy Friday.